What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. It's Semper Deadly. Today we're going to be doing a review of Battlefield 6. The open beta came out this past weekend for Week 1's open beta series. So we're going to be going through, I got quite the list to go over for everything in the totality of Battlefield. And uh, a lot of people I saw were doing reviews during the weekend, when the beta was still going on. I personally wanted to do it post open beta, so that way I get a full understanding of uh, the open beta. I get all of my time in that I can, and I end up understanding, the game's mechanics overall, and I can have a very overall broad view of the game itself. So for me personally, I started back with Battlefield 2 Modern Combat on PS2 in 2005. I've played every Battlefield game, with the exception to 5, 1, and Hardline. That's those genres didn't seem to interest me too much. I was a huge fan of Battlefield 3, 4, and now 6 is probably my favorite one so far. Um, so I'm a huge fan, like I said, with the Battlefield series. I prefer it way over Call of Duty. I know that's like the lead competitor with Battlefield, but in consideration, I'd say it's probably the best. Battlefield is probably the best military console game in comparison to, I'd say, like Arma 3 on the PC. I have over 2,000 hours in Arma 3, and already in Battlefield 6, I've got 27.6 hours in the beta, and that was just from, I think I got my key on Fridays when I started playing, and had time to sit down and actually go for the whole weekend. So my first impressions, it felt off super smooth. The whole game overall, no matter what map, what game mode, what I was, experiencing going around, it all felt, like like they say, silky smooth, as the Zohan says. Um, the performance was amazing. I was getting, majority of the time I was getting 140, 130 FPS, and then I upped my graphics and I actually went down to like 90 to 100 FPS pretty steadily, and that's amazing to see. It's very well optimized that they have the game already at in open beta week 1. That's perfect. There's no real major issues that I had. There's a few occasional bugs, screen defects. Your character gets shot into the air or underground, or you get stuck under the map. Some of the end screens for certain maps or game modes, your screen ends up at on the map but under it, and you can see everything, and it's kind of weird. So other than that, I'd say probably about maybe 5 minutes of my entire game, my 27.6 hours of gameplay in Battlefield 6, I was actually experiencing um, some issues. So from 5 minutes to 27.6 hours is incredible. It's great to see for week 1. Everyone gets to play and experience the game itself. I think it's perfect. It's amazing to see that. The main menu itself was, starting from the main menu going into the game, it's super easily understood. They provided details on each game mode, which I really thought it was like the training grounds that they covered there. And anyone that's coming into the Battlefield series, you can read those to learn about the game modes, to learn about Battlefield and what everything is like compared to other games, or the differences with each game mode in itself, and that's neat to see. I started, like I said, I started off with Battlefield 2 Modern Combat, and that was my first Battlefield game. And coming in, 2025 now, people playing Battlefield 6 for their very first game. When I was playing back in 2005, 20 years ago. Um, it's neat to see that they're adding in bits to help educate the people that are coming in for the very first time to play this and um, basically learn about the game, learn about what the game modes are, learn about the game itself. So that's cool to see. My initial excitement was absolutely stoked. And when I started playing, when I got that first, little bit of time in, super stoked to get. I think the the biggest upsets like thing I would say was seeing the queue at a few thousand. I think I started at like, I think it was like 30,000 my first time I got to load in, and it was like 30,000 queue, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be sitting here forever. I ended up in the game in like maybe 30 seconds I was loaded in. So it was neat to see all those people. I don't know why it's there like that, but I think it just kind of comes in little snippets, and it just helps the performance of the overall status of the servers. So I think that's why that was there. But it was neat to see. The longest wait time I've had was about I think it was like 12 minutes, and I was at 130,000 for the queue. But you could see the queue consistently drop down, which was nice. So we're gonna move on to performance and optimization. Like I said, about 140 FPS to 160 FPS on the medium settings, I believe it was. I bumped up my graphics, went down to 120 to 140, bumped it up some more, went from about 90 to 100 was like my good steady rate, and that was awesome to see. So basically, that I'm not dropping below 60 is what my concern was, and I was really stoked about that. I know that they're taking performance into the game as like one of the biggest things. A lot of games come out on beta and it's very playable. There were some people that needed to do something about their BIOS securing or something like that. Completely messed up their computers. However, all I had to do was a driver update to play the game, and that some games like Battlefield 2042, like with my drivers, the newer ones, you would die, and then your game would crash. So I had to go back to 2024 driver updates to get the game playable. And it didn't seem like any of that was an issue with Battlefield 6. I updated my driver and I started playing Battlefield 6, and I had nothing but great performance. So I absolutely love that the game's performing well on its first week of open beta. Usually when you expect games to be absolute dog crap, it performed excellent. Very thrilled with it, and I appreciate the developers for making the game so performance heavy, as in like that's what they're watching, and that's awesome to see. Matchmaking, like I said, it felt a bit long for 2 minutes. When you're sitting, for your next game mode, it's like you're loading at the lobby for 2 minutes trying to find a server. If you're in the lobby itself, like the main menu itself, you at least have the ability to customize your loadout or edit your weapons, edit settings, stuff like that. But if you're in a match going from one match to another, you don't have that ability, which kind of stinks. You can't, edit your loadouts and check out your weapons and stuff like that, which I think should get added in. That'd be something that would be useful, I'd say, to add in. So going on to the next set of our next topic here is graphics and visual fidelity. The graphics were great. It's not too far advanced, it's not too poor, and it's just right. It's just like the three bears, right? So you have, it's not, the soup's not too warm, it's not too cold, it's just right. The bed's not too big, not too small, it's just right. So like we feel like Goldilocks here, like everything is perfect. It feels to me that I'm playing a game that has been optimized and performs well. The players seem to have, enjoy it. I played with a bunch of different friends. I probably about 15 of my friends that I've played with in this game have, also enjoyed it. I haven't really experienced too much of issues as well, with the minor setback of having to do like, I think there's 2 people that I know have had issues with the BIOS secure thing. And I don't have the best PC, so it handles well. It's easily able to keep up with the requirements of the game without any major issues. I can't even think of many minor issues that I had. The driver update was maybe the only issue, quote unquote issue, I had, but I was fine updating it. I even bookmarked what the specific driver was from 2024 that I had installed on my PC. That way I could, in the event I needed to go back, I can just go back to that one easily. So that's not a big deal for me. The maps were actually, they felt well balanced out for their differences. I'd say like the design of the maps, beautiful. You feel like you're actually in kind of real world environment. Everything seems to be designed with detail. There's it's not, things are just thrown around. It seems like there's a specific, I don't know, like a group that just goes out and finds these locations or comes up with these concepts, and they just nail it directly on the head. The maps are perfect. I love them, with the exception to the mountain map. The Sniper Mountain, we all know if you play Conquest on Foxtrot, it is an absolute sniper mountain at that point there for the team. So that's probably the biggest map irritation I have. And then Charlie for that same map is um, the funnel of death, absolute death and combat is right at that the rock formation on Charlie in I can't remember the name of it, but the mountain map at on Conquest. Um, Moving on, the destruction, right? That's insane. I feel like I'm playing the video game, but I'm in real life, like I'm in a movie. It's everything's falling down around you. If you take the destruction of the map, like look right now, you see the entire building is nearly destroyed. Insane, absolutely amazing. I love it. It goes back to the Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 days where you just bring everything down around you. Battlefield 2042, it lacked a lot of that. It was more of like you destroy this thing and then this entire building comes down. Okay, cool, whatever. But like Battlefield 6 nailed it on the head. Absolutely nailed it. The only thing I'll say that I wish would get added in is when buildings are falling around you, there's more I'd say environmental death. So like if a wall comes down or something and you're laying under it, like sometimes it just won't affect you. I think they got to look a little bit more into the effects of the structures and it coming down on top of you and actually killing you. I think there should be like a little bit of a radius effect added into it. That'd be amazing. Because then you're like, oh, you can actually utilize more of the map to kill your opponent. It's about strategy, right? So you can't always think about just point, aim, and shoot your enemy. You got to think about different concepts such as, bounce frags off of buildings or rooms or vehicles or something to kind of get it, like strategize into how to get it behind the enemy or to the enemy that's behind cover. Use buildings. That'd be a perfect example of. See, I just died from the building that collapsed down on top of me. Perfect example where you can utilize your environment, and I think the building destruction is absolutely phenomenal. Super high quality product of Battlefield 6 here. I love it. In regards to characters and weapon models, they're absolutely great. I did a little bit of time with no HUD, and I was able to, it took a little bit of time to understand like what everyone looks like, but I was able to easily identify the friendlies and the enemies when using no HUD between the two factions. I think the two factions, it's different. It's like you have the U.S. versus a PMC essentially. It feels like, and there's no specific like. It's not Chinese. It's not Russian. It's not. I don't know, like the Taliban. It's nothing crazy. ISIS, nothing like that. It's just it feels like the U.S. versus a PMC, which it's a different concept, I'd say. And I'm open to the idea of how it's going to play out in the campaign. I'm curious how it's going to go. Maybe if they added in some more factions, I think that would be pretty cool. So it's not just, one versus the other. For example, US versus China, I know there's a lot of tensions. It's a video game. Who cares? Let's just play a video game. You're playing on both sides. It's not like one person is worse than the other. Like the game balances it out. I think that would be cool to add in. Going on to the audio and the sound design, there's settings in your sound design that I found out before I even started playing. There's like your normal default settings that you can have, and that would be like the headphones, going through the stereos, stuff like that. And then there's also another category that's like the quality of the sound, and that's like there's nighttime variant, so it kind of brings the volume down a little bit. So like if you're playing in a place that you don't want to be too rowdy, essentially for people that don't play at their residence, and they play out in public somewhere, maybe like a quote unquote like those gaming arcade places that are out there, you can bring the sound down a little bit and it's not going to be bothersome to people around. There's like war files and stuff like that, different categories that really bring out the volume, bring out the sounds, makes you feel immersed into the environment. And I'll tell you what, I chose the war files, I think it's like VLC or something like that. oh my god, is it a game changer? Absolute game changer. I compared it to the default for a little bit and then went back, and holy cow, I absolutely loved the War Files sound effect. Um, Everything feels more realistic. I'm even more immersed. Like I said before, the buildings falling around you, incredible. Adding in the sound and everything, I have no words to explain how amazing the game feels and sounds, and how I feel, and how, you know, we're moving through, and the things that I'm like fully immersed in. It's amazing. Really a great game that Battlefield 6 pulled out for even just week 1 open beta. Incredible. The explosions, the vehicle engines, the footsteps, it's all easily recognizable and able to be heard. The jet flyover, insane. When the, you know, compared to the others, it's just kind of whoosh, but this, like, you get the full afterburner effect when you know, the jets are flying over you. It sounds amazing. The echo off of the mountains, the buildings, stuff like that, of the aircraft, of the tanks, the explosions. It's incredible. I love it. They did a job well done with all of the audio, specifically with the War Files. That one was hands down my absolute favorite one that I experienced. The voice acting, I didn't really pay attention too much to the voice acting. There were some things that I experienced, such as when you're playing the game, there's points where, I think it's when the start, like when you start a match, at one point it's like, given like the regular match thing, like, oh, we're gonna, you know, move to the objective or go capture the objective, what have you. But one of those times I played, and it felt like I was playing Call of Duty for a second, due to the sound that was coming through, and just whatever they said, I don't recall what it was, but it just felt like I was playing Call of Duty for a second, and it might just be, you know, maybe the voice actor from Call of Duty moved over to uh, Battlefield. That could be it, but it felt like it was the exact same voice. So that was like one kind of red flag that I've experienced, but nothing that's going to set me off. The game's overall incredible. Um, yeah, like I said, I was feeling fully immersed into the game. The volume is absolutely incredible. The sounds, everything, the footsteps, like I said before, you can hear them, and that's really how I maxed my volume through my headset, my PC, and the game itself to 100 for all of it, and I was able to determine, you know, some look at the mini map and I don't see a friendly around the corner, and you can just tell off of the footsteps how close they are. Then you can kind of jump out of a corner or jump into like a hallway or something, alleyway, open area of play, and just engage your threat. That was neat to kind of see and understand. So we're gonna roll into the gameplay and mechanics. It felt clean. It was easy. It was enjoyable. There was some bullet drop for the snipers. At first I had a super hard time understanding the sniper rifles. I just could not get the concept down. I don't know what it was about it, but I could not hit anyone for the life of me. I was dying left and right as a sniper, was not hitting any shots at all, even doing, you know, leading, doing bullet drop compensation, like none of that. I'd set my zeros. Like nothing was working. I don't know what it was. The first like day or so, it was not working. I don't know if it was a game thing that I had on my end that was just screwing me over or what have you, but I could not do it. Eventually, you know, day 2, day 3, Saturday, Sunday, I was able to start actually hitting shots and knocking people out of the park. But at first, I was not with it. Definitely was not qualified to be a sniper. That's for sure. The movement in itself, like character movement, felt good. The crouch sprinting, I feel like I was playing Gears of War. Um, I loved it. I liked the fact that that you're just running around like Gears of War, kind of like the crouch run. It was amazing. It's neat that you can kind of do a little bit of use your cover, and it felt realistic. Like there was times when, you know, I served in the military from 2017 to 2021 in the Marines, and when you're moving from cover to cover for certain things, your not always standing up. Sometimes you're kind of like keeping your head down a little bit, and I feel like the crouch run is a perfect comparison to that. It simulates the different positions that you theoretically would utilize in the real military, and I think that's incredible that they added in this crouch run, and whoever did that in, I want to give them huge props because that was absolutely amazing. Love it. Um, the weapons themselves, each individual weapon, all seemed really poor quality at the start. So like they suck at first, but then you start leveling them up, and then you add your customizations to it, and you build upon that weapon. You master the level up, and you start adding into your weapon just becomes godlike, right? So everyone's got their own preference of the weapons, but I feel like it's all balanced across the board. They all stink at first. You level it up, you get some kills, you embrace the suck, and then you add your customizations, and now you have a beast of a machine, a killing machine, and you just absolutely dominate the playfield. You know, I'm not the best player in the world, I'll tell you that. That hands down, I'm not the best player at all. But definitely you can set up your weapons to have, you know, the customizations that you like, and then once you're to a position that you like, you can just go out onto the battlefield and just dominate. You got it all. Going into the squad and team revives, I think it's a great concept. You know, say I'm a recon on my class currently. I go out and a teammate, not a squad mate, a teammate goes down. I can't revive them. However, if a support comes up to them, they can revive the teammate. Even if they're not on their squad. I think that's a great concept. It kind of adds a reason to have the support role. It adds them into the requirement for defib. I think that's amazing. It gives a sense of purpose for each individual role. Absolutely love that. The combat role, I think, is one of the other coolest things that you've like get to do in this. If you don't have it enabled, you can enable it through the settings. But basically, say you're at an altitude where it's not quite parachute level, but like you might get injured if you jump from point A to point B. It sets you into a combat role, and your character literally does on your screen. You see your guy do a little bit of a roll. It's really fucking cool. I really like it. A great addition into the server, or into the game, and I'm actually kind of proud to see that because it looks cool. It doesn't feel out of the match. It's a video game, so you can kind of get a little bit of unrealistic there, but it's still like a concept of, that's awesome to see. And do it's cool. It's a video game aspect. I love it. I I went back to the good old Battlefield days of putting I wanted to try this so bad. I put C4 on a vehicle. I just want to let you know it still works, by the way. There was a few times where I used it, and I even got compliments from both my my teammates, the people on my team, and the enemies. They're like, "Wow, I haven't seen anyone do that yet," and that's incredible. So it was neat to kind of throw the C4 on one of the Jeeps and then send it out into the battle like a war wagon, and just absolutely blow it up in a group of enemies and kill about 4 or 5 people. Unfortunately, I don't have it clipped anywhere that I did that, but yeah, that was one of the moments that were definitely memorable. We're gonna roll right into the map design. So there's 3 maps to start. We're currently on the mountainous one. Not my favorite map at all. I honestly kind of hate it. But it's a map that I can tolerate. I'm not gonna bring it down too much, but it's my least favorite. There's 2 urban maps as well. One's like it kind of gets like a European vibe to it, and then the other is kind of like a Middle Eastern-ish vibe to it. I can't think of like a country to kind of match with it. Maybe when I was passing through Kuwait, there's some video or some buildings that kind of looked like it. Maybe like a setup of, if anyone's been to Kuwait. It's not like kind of Iraq. If anyone's been to Iraq, I can't really find it, think of any buildings or providences that relate to the buildings in that map. I don't know the map names. I'm sorry, but like overall the map qualities have been great. Well balanced. What I would personally like to see is maybe a new map to kind of have an open field. So just like Caspian Border or Operation Firestorm. I know that was coming back. I'm super stoked to see that. I saw little teasers of that. I think in the trailer they had Operation Firestorm. Super stoked to see that. That's awesome that they're bringing that back. Maybe the big open map be like a conquest heavy map, so like more vehicle usage and quote unquote less infantry movement. Uh, excuse me. Maybe add in like a cargo train that infantry can jump on and it circulates the map, like goes in a circle around the map. Maybe you can or cannot destroy it, or it's controlled by players. I don't know. It just a random concept, like thought bubble that came to me. Like this would be cool to kind of add in, and if there's no vehicles, the infantry can jump onto the back of the train and wait until it gets to their destination, jump off and get into absolute combat. Or there could be an objective on the train and, you know, you're defending a moving objective. That'd be really cool. I think that would be awesome, actually, now that I think about it. Each game mode, it currently feels like no matter infantry or vehicle, you're nearly forced to work as a team for the objectives, and that's how the game should be. This beta weekend, I really feel like there was tons and tons of teamwork, with a few occasional spots here and there where people just play to play. You know, the Call of Duty players jumping on, and you can tell they're Call of Duty players compared to Battlefield players because they don't play the objective. No, they don't PTFO. Um, and it's kind of I'd say it's kind of irritating, but at times like you're just here to play the game and kind of experience it in your own likings, and that's you know the way people do it. So that's fine. There's plenty of places for cover and concealment. I mean, I'm jumping up here but instantly died on top of the mountain here. So there's different places that you can maneuver onto, and different buildings that you can use, different rocks, construction objects, traffic control, you know, devices, rock formations, mountains, vehicles that are not enterable. You can utilize all of those for cover and concealment, and majority of it is absolutely amazing placement. Nothing seems like too far unbalanced. Some of the trucks, when you're on objectives, you can actually climb under the trucks, and that's fantastic. I love that. So we're going to roll into the weapons and loadouts now. There's a good variety of weapons. I'd say each category, you know, there's the carbines, there's the assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs, sniper, there's like the other where it's like the DMRs, shotguns, stuff like that. You have a variety of those. There's only one shotgun. It's absolutely insane. I'll get to that in a minute, but the sniper rifle, there's only one. I'll get to that in a little bit as well, but overall, like, there's a good variety of weapons that people can utilize. So going to the shotgun, it's insanely good for CQB maps. It's incredibly annoying, however, it feels realistic. It just sucks that some people do nothing but use the shotgun and the shotgun alone. But it is, like I said, it's a shotgun, and CQB is where it dominates the field. If you get someone far distance from the shotgun, then you know you got it. No single weapon overall feels overpowered or useless. It was all pretty well balanced out, and if you sit back and think about it all, each weapon has its own power or ability, and you just need to find what counter to use or what weakness it has. And like I said before, it's a strategy game, so you got to work towards, you know, finding that weakness or that counter. There's no way to change weapon skins at all, at least in the beta, which I'm a little curious how they're going to kind of roll that into the game. So you can see here I'm looking at my challenges, and those are some of the unlocks that you're going to get: skins and weapons and stuff, or skins for the weapons and your character. And I'm curious how those are going to roll into the game, but we'll hit that in a little bit here. My biggest weapon thing is the mortar system. I absolutely loved the mortar. It did a lot of great suppression in Battlefield 3, and the artillery, I think, in Battlefield 4 was pretty neat to utilize as well. I'd like to see something along that category or type, I guess, come back as well. Even if it ends up in a vehicle you can use as artillery, and like it's mobile, maybe like the strikers or something. That'd be cool to see. So rolling right into the vehicles, I'm kind of upset about the lack of vehicles. Both sides had the same tanks and IFVs, which was kind of embarrassing. Like, it doesn't have to be Russian models, but something different would be nice. Other than everyone using the same exact vehicle. It was weird with the IFV feeling the newer age vehicle, and then like when you died from it, it utilized the Bradley icon, so that was kind of weird how it correlated. I don't know if that was a bug or not, but whenever you died with this new age looking IFV, I know I guess they recently came out with it. It's the image of the Bradley um, that was there. Um, the Abrams, it was still being its godlike self from the old days, and in comparison to the IFV, they were kind of like it was like taking an old age item that is everyone. I absolutely love the Abrams, but it was weird putting it in comparison with the futuristic kind of looking IFV. That part was kind of a little weird to me. I didn't understand the concept behind that. I'm not sure what their plans are with that. All the vehicles are easily controllable and are able to be taught easily. You can, it takes a little bit to learn for some of the vehicles, but overall they're pretty easily like you can understand them pretty easily and pretty quickly. The helicopter controls were the biggest difference from this battlefield and the last ones, but I honestly enjoy it. I don't mind it at all. I think it was designed to kind of cut away from people like myself who rock the little birds and devastate the entire time, the entire match, racking up like 100 kills or so. I wonder if that was kind of like a defect going back against it. If I had to pick a vehicle I enjoyed most, it was probably the IFV, even though it was a little bit futuristic seeming. I'm sure nowadays we're kind of rolling into a little bit of an aspect of things, especially in 2025. Um, you destroyed the entire buildings, you provided cover for infantry, and you could just charge straight into the thick of infantry to capture objectives, and your infantry would push up with you. It was awesome to see, infantry is pinned down somewhere. They're taking a lot of heavy small arms fire. You push up with the IFV, and then you just start absolutely obliterating the enemies with your IFV, and then all your infantry moves up behind you. You have people, especially with the challenges. You had a lot of people doing the repair tool, trying to get that challenge, and that was cool to see as well. It essentially forced people to try and help move up, the mission along with doing the challenge and repairing the vehicle to get you guys to win, I guess you could say. We're gonna move on to class system and specialization. Sorry. There's no list of characters for each class like 2042. For example, there's like three different characters you had for assault. Three different ones for engineer, support, recon, stuff like that. I like that. It's just one character per one role, and it doesn't feel like you're over um, over encumbered with these characters and roles and tons of different specializations. Like I think it's great. We're going back to the old days, and I love that. It doesn't feel we're going to Call of Duty, Fortnite kind of world where everything's just tons of different looks, and it doesn't look good in the game. Having a bit of uniformity is excellent. I'd say overall the assault, the engineer, support, recon roles, going back to the old days, like how it is, it's a perfect balance. Everyone counters each other. Assault does basically the assault stuff. You're pushing in and you're assaulting. That's what you're doing. That's what your sole job is. Engineer's perfect for the vehicles. You drive the vehicles or you're repairing the vehicles. You're also the AT person, right? So you're the anti-tank guy, and you're going out and you're destroying the vehicles. So you're that perfect balance for infantry to vehicles. The support, absolutely my favorite role, absolutely amazing. The main thing for it is provide ammunition, provide revives, everything like that for your entire team. I absolutely love it because if I'm stuck somewhere by myself for a little while and I'm just mowing people down, I can throw down a supply kit and I can just rearm myself. I don't have to wait on anyone else. I'm not sitting there yelling at people to get me up or get me some ammo and they're just not listening. You can end up just arming yourself, which was great. Loved it. And then the recon, it's just your normal sniper class. The coolest thing about it was the UAVs. I thought that was cool. You can set up a UAV for your specialization, and it would show people in like a certain radius of the UAV. That was great. So we're gonna move on to the game modes. There's multiple game modes that they all had. There's Conquest, Breakthrough, Domination, King of the Hill, and there's like a modified, I believe it was like a modified Domination with like the class weapon restrictions. So like you couldn't use a sniper rifle if you were on like a support, engineer, or assault class. It was all, you can only use a sniper as a recon. You can only use LMGs as a support. You could only use I guess assault. I didn't look much into it, but I guess assault rifles with assault and engineer. Not quite sure where those kind of line up with each other. But otherwise, my favorite game mode, I'm playing it right now, is King of the Hill. Absolute favorite game mode. It's constant, battle. You essentially do instant revives. There's not much reviving here because it's point based for objectives rather than scoreboard based, such as like the kills and the deaths and everything. So you can get like 1,000 kills and have like little to no points, and keep going. But intense combat in every mode, no matter what you're doing. Conquest, Breakthrough, Domination, King of the Hill, the modified Domination. It doesn't matter. It's intense combat in every single game mode. It's super enjoyable. And you knew the objective locations and started learning the locations. You can quote unquote camp to capture the objectives, such as like a second story room you specifically liked, or like a specific alleyway, and you can kind of plan out how you're playing. So you can see it at this point. Like this is when I'm playing King of the Hill here. Like people start to understand the different positions of the capture points, and it just keeps rotating around, with all the points, A, B, C, D, E, F, or I don't think there's F, I think it just goes to E, then repeats. So you just keep going back and forth between all these points, and you can kind of plan out specific positions, and you can guess those positions, and there's always a counter. For example, someone's up in a second story building, take the building down. It's destruction. Battlefield 6. Great destruction physics, and you can take the building down and make them lose their spot. There's a certain vehicle or something that people are hiding behind. Blow the vehicle up if they're behind it. Utilize your M320 or an RPG or something. If you can't get to them, then utilize something to destroy them from a distance. There's always a way to counter campers or specific spots like that. But no matter the current capture point, the ability for the enemies to come from all directions still exists, and it never felt unbalanced or like able to be planned, because you're looking one way, and the next thing you know, 2 seconds later, you have to look the other way because that's where they're coming from, and then 2 seconds later, they're all respawned, and now they're coming from a different direction. So you're always surrounded, no matter what you're doing. It's never a 100% that they're always coming from this direction. You have to have a 360 mindset at all times, and like that's how you're gonna understand the concept of the game. That's how you're actually gonna win with your team. We're getting close to the end here, but we're gonna move on a few more topics here. We got the community and matchmaking is up next. So everyone felt enjoyable to play with. There's no like uber trolls. I had one issue with a quote unquote cheater that everyone was calling out. He had like 60 kills in the first, I don't know, 3 minutes of the game, and no matter what corner we took, he was getting kills. And it was quite coincidental that the first time I crashed in this game was when I was playing on the same match as that guy, and a lot of people were saying that he was cheating. So I only had one experience with a possible, I'll say a possible because I couldn't prove it, or there's no like hard evidence, it was just a thought. One possible cheater. That's the only time I genuinely crashed, like my PC crashed the game. But otherwise, like, there's no uber trolls. There's a few good players here and there that, annoyed you with their skills in the game, like, using a specific gun and getting the 60 kills when everyone else has like 10 or 20 with about the same amount of deaths. But I think the best part was like the game chat was great. I enjoyed messaging and wishing people, GLHF for like good luck, have fun, and then GG at the end of the game for a good game. And it was kind of taking me back to the roots of Battlefield and when everyone loved it and didn't rage over everything like they do in COD. The community kind of talks to each other, and it feels like a good home for everyone. We're fighting against each other, but at the end of the day, like, it's a video game and we're all having fun. And some of the tactics used, like, you can have a good team or a bad team, and it's just the luck that you get. But otherwise, like in regards to the community, like I think it's a great community, and I'm glad to go back to the roots of Battlefield. Rolling right into progression and unlock. So if you watched Twitch for about 4 hours, you got perks. So every hour, so 30 minutes, you got your beta code access. Then every hour, you got skins or something like that. I think it was to unlock when the game full releases. I was playing Battlefield. I got my code, started playing the game, and I was watching Twitch on my side monitor, just unlock, watching my perks just go up and up. So that was neat that I got those unlocked. There's master unlocks, so the weapons max out at level 20. Your rank locks out at level 20. It was great and cool to unlock an item or two at every rank. It felt good, easy at first until about rank 14 or so, 13, 14, and then it felt forever to rank up for a bit, which was good with 20 being the max level. The biggest one was your character, like your profile's max level. It took a little bit longer to level that up from about 14 to 20. I think the biggest one was like 18 to 19 felt like it took the longest for me. But I did not see a lot of max level players at all, which told me that the leveling system wasn't broken. No, it's pretty balanced out, and people are kind of at different levels, which was great to see. There's different skill levels and time on the game. The skins and cosmetic items for weapons and stuff, I'm very hesitant about it. I liked it in Battlefield 3 where you did like minor camouflage changes. That was perfect. I don't want a stupid little Fortnite, Call of Duty money grab concept. They made a great Battlefield is a great game already, and if they keep it where it's at, there's no need for money grabs. It's all being done great already. I don't think I can say that and stress it anymore. All right, so we're gonna start wrapping it up here, but concerns going forward, main one being the skins, like I said, but also like the campaign. I really hope it's good. I've not been let down with any of the campaigns such as Battlefield 3 or 4, but a campaign can really make or break a game. Just the fact the multiplayer went so well, I have high hopes the campaign will be amazing. I also hope it's really long, so those who enjoy the campaign series of things can take a while to complete it, rather than a few missions that can be completed in like 3 or 4 hours if you take your time. Sniper rifle variants lacked. Like I said, there was only one sniper rifle, and it seems they lacked variety. I hope they add some more in the final product, and I look forward to it. I'm sure they will, just like some of the other games. There's about 3-4 sniper rifles in those games, and I think that would be great to add those in. I'm gonna sneeze here. Oh, bless me. Thank you. And then, let's see what else. So the maps, like I said previously, should have variety rather than all essentially being the same. All close quarters or a sniper campout, such as the mountain map that we were playing on a little while ago. I think it could get boring. I don't know why, just me personally. Like I said, I didn't enjoy that one, but others probably absolutely love it. So that's probably just my least enjoyable map. Having about like 10 to a dozen or so maps, all with an open world feel, CQB, medium combat feel, or even a single map that's like a massive open world feel with about 100 players in it at a time for a conquest match would be so cool. I just hope the variety continues. We're in a CQB map here, and if we get that continuous you get your CQB maps, you get your open world maps, you get like that medium range between like CQB and kind of open world feels, maybe like different towns across the map for different objectives. So like I'll say like town A, town B, town C, and they're all different objectives, but they're also like maybe quarter mile apart from each other, and it's like small little towns that you guys just have to defend. That'd be pretty cool. So rolling into the final thoughts here, ending it up. It's an incredible game. Incredible atmosphere. The setup of everything is insane. The settings, the customizations, like for the settings, is awesome. At one point, I ended up changing my entire overhaul, and I essentially went into like a hardcore mode where I made the I'll use some like great destruction of the building. I went into the opacity, and I brought down the opacity for the icons, so like my team, my players that I'm seeing, the enemies, stuff like that. I took the opacity down. I changed the colors out, so my squad is like a dark purple. The friendlies, I believe, were green that I switched to, or like a different shade of blue, maybe like a dark green, I think it was, a very dark red for the enemies, and I think that looked incredible. Definitely when the game comes out again, I'm going to be changing it over to that. I think it looked a lot better. To me, it was just my personal appearance that I liked, and I like the fact that you can change that. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I hands down recommend this to anybody, like Battlefield 6. I recommend it to anybody who has played the Battlefield series or just, you know, Call of Duty as well. I invite you guys over to Battlefield and just give it a shot. It's a great game. I absolutely loved it, and I know you'll probably love it as well. If you're a first-person shooter, this is a game that you guys should go to. If it's really hard for me to give a rating out of 10 to games, especially at like a beta, but I want to give it like a 7 or an 8 because there's a lot of things that still need some production out of it. However, it just hit me so hard that I gotta give it like a 9. Like I could not put myself to give it an 8 or a 7 or anything like that, and that's really pushing it, giving it a 9. Like really, I'm probably pushing it over. I like, there's no way I can stress this enough. This game is absolutely phenomenal, and if you haven't played it and don't plan on playing it, I think you should change your mind about it. Give it a shot. Give it a chance. Give it an opportunity. Take that opportunity. Take that chance. Take that shot that you don't, what's it called in basketball? You miss every shot that you don't take. Just go for it. Give it a chance. Give it a try. Play the game. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But I think it's a great first-person shooter. It's probably going to be one of the best one. It's probably the best one, honestly, in the beta compared to all the games I've played. It's probably the best one I've ever played compared to all the other ones. But like I said, just get the game. If you don't have the game, play it. Get it. I can't stress enough how great this game is and how much it's going to probably improve in the next few releases and then the full release. I've already pre-ordered the Phantom Edition. I'm a super big fan of Battlefield, and this game just absolutely sold me. Like, look at this destruction. Amazing. Absolutely amazing seeing all of this. This is incredible. So like I said, get it, and then I hope you enjoyed this review. I'm looking forward to beta week 2. I had a wonderful time gaming, and I hope you guys have a wonderful time as well. And remember, you're more than just a viewer. You're part of the Semper Squad. Stay sharp, stay awesome, and never forget that you matter more than the game. I'll see you in the next mission.